Good evening, good evening, good evening. Big welcome, everybody, and welcome to our free live class on making an autumnal door wreath. Now, this class is going to be really simple. I know we have some people who are going to work along with us, and some people have purchased a kit and maybe they're going to make it in a day or two. But make sure you do make it in a day or two because I have a fantastic prize for everybody who takes part in the class. But you have up until Friday to take part in the class. Now, to get the ball rolling, okay, first of all, who's watching? Where are you watching in from? And so what sort of evening is it where you are? Because it's an absolutely glorious evening here in Rialto, Dublin. The sun is still shining. The sky is still actually pretty clear. And I have to say, you'd never think you were coming towards the last week in September. It's just amazing. So, be anyone watching, Deirdre?
Yeah, there's a few people watching now. A few people are watching. So,
probably slurping their dinner then. Probably a bad time, that way. 6 o'clock was what the reason we picked the 6 o'clock time is that later on this evening at 7 o'clock we have a webinar for anyone that's maybe interested in learning how to sell on social media. So it's the 6 top tips for selling your business online using social media, and it's specifically for florists. So if there is any flower shops watching or people who are planning to work in a flower shop or eventually set up on their own, this will be well worth joining in. What I'll probably do is I'll put the link either, it'll be on the page or it'll be in the comments, okay? We will be live for a little while after this finishes this evening. And because the reason is you have to sign up for the webinar, okay? You can't just actually join in. You do have to sign up, but it's free. So because Louise had she had the important, I suppose, point of the night at 7 o'clock, we had to move back till 6 o'clock ourselves. But listen, we have lots of news for you. So some of you may know that next May, we will be celebrating 35 years in business. Oh my God, yeah, 35 years. I don't look it, do I? But Kay, our mum, who's actually, it's her birthday today. So hopefully if she's watching, happy birthday, mum. Have a great night. She would have set the school up 35 years ago. And when we were 30 years in business, we decided, like, what would we do to celebrate? And we did change the logo and we got a new website going and so on. And what we did was we offered a scholarship place, okay? So what that meant was for one really, really lucky student was that they got all their training for free, like all their modules, their Christmas program, basically, plus they got free mentorship from like the tutors here at the school. Well, she's still getting mentorship offers, isn't she? 5 years later. We never actually put a deadline on the mentorship, that way. And it was very successful. What we have actually done, Heather Betsy was, well, I call her Heather Betsy, but I don't think that's a real surname.
Heather Condren.
Heather Condren. Heather Betsy sounds nicer, doesn't it? So Heather Betsy was our winner 5 years ago. And she went on to open up her own floristry business, Flower Pop. So later on, I'll give you a link and where you can go over and you can listen to Heather's story about winning the scholarship, what it meant to her and how she put it into use more or less and how it changed her life. So what we decided to do, these things, I'm pulling them up because I'm going to be getting kind of down and dirty here tonight. So what we've decided to do to celebrate 35 years in business, which is not till next May, okay? But we're now going to offer another scholarship. Now, you can either nominate yourself or you can nominate somebody else. Maybe you're already in the flower business and you want to get your mum, your dad, your brother, your sister, your daughter or your son or your cousin or a staff member maybe trained in. Well, this would be a fantastic opportunity. Now, you'll have to go and read the what would you call it, the criteria, I suppose, to win it, okay? It obviously is not just going to be willy-nilly, let's pick so-and-so because her name sounds nice, like the way Heather Betsy's name sounds nice, okay? We want somebody...
And it doesn't have to be a flowery name.
And it doesn't have to be a flowery name, no, absolutely it doesn't. Like Heather Condon would have done as well. But what we want is somebody who will obviously, like, put their all into the courses and get as much out of the courses, that way, and that's really, really interested. So it's not just a case of somebody who just loves flowers and would like to do a free course. Like, I'd rather that this actually went, or the person that would win this was really wants to train as a florist, you know what I mean? This is their dream, that way, and hopefully we can, like with this opportunity, we can turn your dream into reality. So what we'll do later on is I'll put a link in the comments, okay, which will bring you to our website. Now, just in case anybody can't find the link, now don't go missing, stay here with me, because the winner is not going to be announced till the 8th of December. So you need to sit down and think about this, okay? Because you will have to kind of submit an entry. So there's no point in getting in tonight and just writing pick me, pick me, pick me, like the donkey on what's that movie? Shrek, okay? It doesn't work that way. You have to be, you know what I mean? You have to be kind of serious, and you need to submit like a proper entry. So if you go to our website, flowerschoolireland.com, and scroll down through the buttons, it's one of the last buttons, and it's the entries for the scholarship. If you click on that, as I said, there's a small video from Heather explaining, you know, I mean, her experience of winning the scholarship, and then the entry form is there. So basically, it's black and white, all the dates of the course. Again, there's no flexibility on the dates, okay? You must be available on the dates that's specified. And to be honest, everything, it's completely free. Now, this is open to worldwide, okay? So, because I know we get a lot of American followers, Vietnam, Australia, you name it. There's even countries to be coming on here, and I don't even know where the countries are. Do you remember we were trying to work out where was it? Trinidad? Anyway, it doesn't really matter where you are in the world. This opportunity is open to everybody. But if you're living in Ireland or Northern Ireland, okay, we will be able to supply all your fresh flowers. But obviously, if you're living outside of Ireland, we won't be able to actually do that. But we will be able to give you a list of the flowers, and you can source them yourself. That's how we normally work it with our overseas customers. But we will supply you with all your materials. So it doesn't matter, even if you are in Trinidad, we will work it out, and we'll get all the materials to you. So that part then will be all included in the actual prize. Okay, so it's open to everybody, men, women, young child, and there's no age limit. Not like, you know what I mean, there's no age limit downwards or upwards. It's we're an equal opportunity school. Okay, so moving on. So what I was on earlier on today, and I was on a little bit yesterday, been on quite a lot lately, and getting people prepared. And I was saying, maybe go out to your garden or somebody else's garden and see, can you source some greenery, okay? So these are branches of eucalyptus. And so no matter what the branches of greenery that you have, okay, is you're going to kind of cut them up into chunks. And I'm going to say 20, 22 centimeters maximum, but you can have smaller ones and a little bit longer and a little bit shorter and a little bit medium. It doesn't really matter. Now, to see like a piece like that, because this one is very long, just cut it in half, but don't throw that out. Put that to one side, okay? And then we just say you had another branch of the eucalyptus. You could pick that up, and again, you're going to do the same thing. Cut off all the pieces. Some of them will be small, some of them will be chunky, some of them will be really, really skinny, you know, that way. Doesn't really matter. Cut them all up. 20, 22 centimeters will be the maximum length of them, okay? But other than that, it doesn't really matter. And then the rubbish that's left over, again, because this one is quite long, I'm just going to cut it in half and put that to one side. So this is going to be a very eco-friendly one. Like, talk about equal opportunities. We're also going to be environmentally friendly here tonight, and we're going to use up every little bit of material that we have. Now, the foliage that I have here, this was something that I imported, and it's like a dried brown oak leaf. But like, you may have oak leaves like yourself, and I'm just going to show you where, again, you can cut in between them branches. You see, to get like little chunky pieces like that. Now, I'm not actually going to use any of this in tonight's wreath, okay? But I will use it another time, because when I was sending out the kits to you, I enclosed 3 of these frames, okay? And that means that you have the makings to make at least 2 or 3 of these door wreaths. So we are going to do another class, so you can write this down in your notebook. It'll be next Tuesday night, which is the 28th of September, and we'll be back to our own slot time, okay? We're going back to 7 o'clock. So 7 o'clock next Tuesday night, and we're going to have another autumnal door wreath class. But again, in advance, I'll give you notice of what you actually need. So when you've cut up all your foliage, like say here beside me, I have a little bit of the ceanothus. Now again, you may have seen me using this during the summertime when it was in flower, and I've done some fabulous ceanothus wreaths. But like now, when it's just foliage, again, you can cut that up into little chunks as well. And I also have a little bit of the choicea, you know, that way. So what does this kind of smells more like? A kind of a basil smell. You think you're having a mojito, okay? So again, you can cut up whatever foliage you happen to have. I gave a list of it there earlier on today, but just for anybody that's not watching, like silver Sussex, Pittosporum, laurel, red robin, ivy, wild ivy be absolutely fabulous. I'm going to use some wild ivy in mine tonight. So like, cut up all your foliage and you have it all in front of you. Now in your kit, I sent out to you a roll of real wire, okay? So that was enclosed as part of your kit. Now, again, if you have any kids there with you, you know that way, this is going to take a little bit of time because I have a little bit in the oven. You know the way I have a little bit of prep work done. But remember, you can always watch this on the replay. And the easiest way to watch it on the replay, I'm kind of pulling a bit of a fast one here, is if you click share, okay, it'll immediately share to your page on Facebook. So it means tomorrow then you can go back to your own page on Facebook and you'll be able to find it and you can re-watch it again with your kids and get them involved. In other words, will you please share, okay? So I want everybody to click share and I want to see them lights kind of going up for me. I want to see them numbers going up. And if you're watching on Instagram, why don't you give us a few hearts or a little bit of love or a smiley face? And if you're watching on YouTube, we'd love a couple of thumbs up. And I don't know what we get them to do on TikTok. Haven't got a clue.
No, well, we're not on TikTok.
Actually, then it doesn't really matter. We're not on TikTok, so it doesn't matter, okay? So then what you're going to do is bunch your pieces of greenery together. So there's a little bit of choice here, and then just lash on a bit of eucalyptus, and you can lash on a bit of the oak leaf, and you can lash on a bit of the ceanothus, and you can get another bit of eucalyptus. Can you see? Like, be very, very casual and informal about it, and make this kind of sort of mad bunch in your hand. And it doesn't matter that some of it is a bit longer or a bit shorter than the others, but if you kept all the ends near enough together. And then what you're going to do with the real wire, hopefully they can see that against my hands, can you, right? You're just going to hold that with your thumb against the bottom, and then you're going to wind the wire around the ends, but pull it tight, and go around about 5, 6, 7, 8 times, okay? Put the wire, so hopefully you have scissors, I forgot to say that to you. And there is your little bunch of greenery made. Now, if you were to do some of these today and some tomorrow or whatever, as you make them, you could dunk them down into a bucket of water. And you could leave them in the water for 12 hours. They'll be absolutely fine. And when you take them out of the water, just leave them even in an empty bucket or a plastic bag at that stage, somewhere cold. And again, you can use them tomorrow or the next day or whatever. So just for anybody that was a bit slow on the uptake, we're going to do that again. You have all your greenery cut up. Now, if you have any questions, post the questions in the comments. Deirdre's watching them and she'll call them out to me. So you randomly pick up any bunch of greenery off the table and another bit and another bit, and they don't have to be the same, and you can mix them. And like earlier on, I was saying, the more varieties of greenery that you have, the more interesting this can be, right? So again, you can see the yolk is fabulous through it. But if you had any red robin, we've a little bit of red robin for our one. You know the way, if you had any little bits of red robin, you'd be absolutely flying. Again, bunch them together, get the roll of real wire, get the edge of the real wire, hold it with your thumb, and then wrap it around 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It doesn't matter. Wrap it around there really tight, cut the wire off, fold in the little spare bit, and there is your little bunches of greenery made up. And you will need about 25 pieces of these. Now, you can make extra. If you want to make it bigger, if you live in a posh house and you have a massive big hall door, I'll show you how you can make it much, much bigger, or if you want to make it smaller.
Mum and Dad are watching.
Hiya, Mum and Dad. How are you? I suppose they're having a little sneaky drink there. So that's allowed. She's celebrating her birthday. We were trying to work out what age she was. And I know she's born in 1943 because, no, 1946. Sorry, Dad is 43. She's 46. But you know what? My head wouldn't work it out today trying to deduct it away from 2011. So it's not even 2011. So you can see, like, I haven't even a clue. So maybe if somebody works out what age she is, we might have a little prize. There you go. So she's born in 1946. Okay, Dad is 1943. So the other thing then, so while they're all gone off to get the calculator, this is 2021, by the way, okay? While everybody's gone to get the calculator, you've all your bunches made up. And then I'm going to show you how to make up a frame. Now, I know we had a couple of people messaging me and they were saying, Jeanette, will you be doing it on a moss frame or a straw frame or a Leyland frame? And I says, no, everything that I'm going to use tonight is going to be easily accessible, okay? So it is possible to make it directly onto this frame if you want to. But you will find if you give it a little bit of bulkiness, it does help to make your door wreath a little bit chunky. So this is where I was suggesting that maybe some of the branches, you know, that way that the wastage, okay? Or like when Deirdre was in the spider and all here we have. Well, when Deirdre was cutting the greenery this morning for our door wreath, you know, the way she cut loads of extra. Can you see this of the ceanothus? And she cut loads of extra of the choicea foliage, okay? So I probably have enough here to make another door wreath, but I'm going to show you how you can make a frame out of foliage, okay? So what you're going to first of all do, and I'm going to use some of this rubbish as well, you're going to get your real wire And you're going to, we call it real wire. Some people call it mossing wire because it is designed for mossing up wreath frames, okay? I'm just going to stick the wire through one side and out through the other and bend it over. And then I'm going to give it a little bit of a twist. Have they worked out what age she is?
Oh, they have.
I know
there's a few dunces as well.
Oh, is there? Oh, well, they're probably in the same class as me. They were probably on the Mitch the same day I was on the Mitch. She's 70 something anyway. I know that for a fact, and she's not 80. So there we go. There's our real wire you see attached, okay? And ma'am, you better tell us what the right answer is. She's probably there drinking and she doesn't know what age she is anyway.
She doesn't know when she was born.
And she's probably going to say, wasn't born in 1946. So maybe it was 1846. So what I'm going to do now, so this isn't part of the wreath. So this isn't the lovely bunches that we made, okay? This is all the rubbish, what I call the shite foliage, okay? So this is all your rubbish and bits of foliage that you happen to have lying around on the table or that's in the garden, okay? You're just going to get this foliage and you're going to rest it onto the frame. You see, like so. And don't worry that there's bits sticking out on either side. And what I'm then going to do is I'm going to wrap the wire around it, you see. And what we're actually doing is we're making a frame with the foliage onto the wire ring. And as I said, don't worry about that bit sticking out. I'll show you how I'll sort that out in a second. So again, I'm going to grab another bunch, you know, that way just randomly. You can see how casual and how rubbish that foliage is, okay? So just squash it together nice and tight. I often say like you're squashing it together like a sausage shape. You're resting it onto the frame in the area where I just finished the real wire. And again, what you're doing is you're wrapping the real wire around. Now I'm holding it up in the air, which is real awkward, okay? But I'm only holding it up like this so you can see what I'm actually doing. But normally what I would do is I would be holding it down on the table. And what I'm doing then is I'm squashing the greenery in around the shape of the roundy frame. So as the real wire goes around, it actually starts to take shape. And can you see the way we're making a circle out of it, okay? So again, if you wanted a really nice scent off this, has anybody or has any of your neighbours still got the lavender growing in the garden? It's probably all after drying out now. But there's still a fabulous scent of the lavender. And you know where the little purpley flower could be gone tattery now at this stage. But all the branches, you know what I mean? So if you were to use the branches and the little tattery lavender flower that's probably gone all, you know, all in bits, cut that up and make this frame using the lavender. I'm telling you this, you'll nearly fall asleep making it, you will. It'll be absolutely gorgeous. So here again, I'm going to do this one on the table. I'm resting the greenery onto the wire frame and I'm wrapping the wire around and around and around. And you can see the way it's starting to take shape. Now I will go around with the wire a second time, okay, to kind of tidy it up. And even all them shitty little bits of branches, you see them kind of rubbishy bits, they're all going to be cut in as well. So have you any news for us there, dear?
Yes, we have. Shana Keane said, so she said your mum set up her business when she was 40. And she did, yeah.
I didn't know that. No, she can't remember.
But she must have.
Was I even born at that stage? So I'm only 21 myself.
Okay, so we have our winners for our booby prize winners.
Yeah.
Who got Mama's age right, which I presume is the right age, Mama. If you're there, let us know.
What is it anyway?
75.
75. Oh, there you go.
Now we got a few 77s and a few 79s and a few 72s. So, but most people said 75. So
we're just going to presume anyway. And anyway, the adjudicator's decision is final.
Adjudicator's decision is final. So our winners are Louise Murta, Michelle McKenna, Forget Me Not 21, the Signature Flowers by Louise. So the four of you, so they're on our four platforms on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and our other Instagram. So the two Instagrams.
So Howard, what are they going to do? Going to email you?
Drop us an email before tomorrow at midday.
Yeah.
And we'll send you with your address and we'll send you something in the post.
There you go. That was handy, wasn't it? Anyway, there you go now. And then you have to come on and sing happy birthday.
Then you have to come on.
If somebody comes on there now and sings happy birthday, they might even get another prize.
Louise asked, how many times can you nominate, or many people can you nominate for
as many as you want.
The scholarship?
It wasn't really something we thought. I suppose as many as you want.
Yeah,
doesn't
absolutely.
really matter. Once they're genuine people. So there you go. That's what the frame looks like after going around it once, okay? And I'm going to just go around it a second time. So I'm not adding any greenery on this time. I'm just going around it once more. So there's no
the sound
reason
seems to be gone on your Instagram.
Okay.
So we're over on Kate's Flower School Instagram as well. So if you want to pop over there, the sound seems to be gone. And I see Forget Me Not 21. You were one of our winners. You're saying the sound is back. So I just call those winners again, just in case you didn't hear it. Louise Murta, Michelle McKenna, Forget Me Not 21, and Signature Flowers by Louise. Drop us an email before lunchtime tomorrow with your address, and we'll have something in the post. Do you have the real wire for sale?
We do, I think, isn't it? Or is it?
It's only part of the kit. Yeah.
But we only had 2 more of them kits left. You know,
That's it. Yeah, yeah.
So I can make up more of the kits, but I'm not going to have that organza ribbon to put into it. You know, the orange organza. But I can put, I was going to show the ribbons behind me, but they're covered. But I could put in a roll of the normal florist ribbon if you want. So just drop us an email and I can sort that out for you if you want.
So Francis just wants to know about hanging the door wreath on
and give
PVC
us the
door.
Oh, and I thought I was going to hang it up already.
No,
so give your knickers a rest and hold on to your knickers there and give us a bloody chance. PVC door, go and buy one of them command strips. You get them in Tesco's. A lot of the home-based shops, they sell them. I think the pound shops and Mr. Price sells them as well. And stick the command stick to your door and then you can hang it onto that. So that's my base made, okay? And all I'm going to do is cut off the wire that's left over and the bit of wire that's still sticking out, just stick that down into your frame. So that's your base, okay? So the next job is, and this is where I just say I have some in the oven, is that you have your 20 odd bunches, can you see, of greenery. So in the bunches that I've used, I have a little bit of wild ivy. You can see the wild ivy there, and some of it even has a seed head on it. I have little bits of silver Sussex. I have little bits of the black pittosporum, you know, the tom pittosporum. I have little bits of eucalyptus. And I think that's, you know, I mean, that's kind of the selection that I have. I'm going to take some more of
Sherry Fall says, she says the magic bin is coming really into play today.
I think it's all caught me out rapid the other day, like, and when Deirdre videoed me how dirty the floor was when I was working here. But I actually took the sweeping brush out today, and she caught me again. She did sweeping the floor. So hopefully I'm not blocking their view there, am I?
No.
I'm going to leave them 2 out because there's a bit of brown in them, okay? So, or the brown leaf. So to start it off, right, you get your first bunch, okay, hold on to your reel wire. First of all, you need to attach a reel wire again. So if you're making the frame and you're ready to attach the foliage, there's no need to cut the wire at the end. But say maybe you're making the frame this evening and then you're going to put the greenery bunches on tomorrow, well then you probably will cut it off like I have. So if you have cut it off, all you do is hold it with your thumb in one spot, go around that same spot 3 or 4 times, and it normally just grips on again for you. Just you don't have to tie a knot or anything. This wire is absolutely brilliant. So there you go. You see the way it's cut on again. Now the first bunch foliage, because these wire rings were 12-inch rings, okay? But to make your wreath bigger, your door wreath bigger, you can place the greenery on. Can you see sticking out on an angle? So by letting it stick out on an angle, I'm going to talk inches here, but I'm definitely gaining another 4 to 5 inches to see coming out past the frame. So it is a way of making it look bigger, especially if you live in a posh house. If you live in a poor house, okay, and you have a small hall door, where?
Like mine.
Well, then you can place the greenery directly onto the ring. Or maybe you're not able to source as much greenery as me. It'll take a lot less bunches, you see, by keeping it on the ring. So you can always experiment. Like the thing is, it's costing you nothing to make this because this is all greenery that you're going to forage. Now, obviously, you can go to a local flower shop and you can buy the greenery as well. But you're all about being eco-friendly. And you're like, this is the time of the year that you're allowed to cut trees, you know, that way. So go out there and cut them. So get your first bunch of foliage, rest it on an angle. And the idea is that the reel wire goes around the end. You know where the wire was wrapped around the end of the bunch? The reel wire goes around the end of that bunch 2 or 3 times. And that's a cut on. And can you see the way it's sticking out on an angle? That's how easy it is, right? Now, a good little tip for you here is kind of come away. So with your hand, kind of pull your hand a little bit away from it and then get the second bunch, okay? Now keep them quite close. Don't be mean with it, okay? I want to make this kind of chunky. So the second bunch is going to slightly overlap, but also sticking out on an angle. And because I brought my hand over to the side slightly, the reel wire then will wrap around the end of that bunch 2 or 3 times to attach that one. And again, the little trick, pull your hand over to the side. And then you get your next bunch. And again, sometimes you can have the ivy looking up and sometimes you can have the silver Sussex looking up. So there's no back and front to my bunches. I was just real casual when I was making them. So as I'm adding in these bunches of foliage, you can see the way I'm getting all the different selections. Now also, if you need to make it a little bit chunkier, you can always place a bunch nearly on top of them ever so often. And that kind of like overlaps it more or less. And again, it makes it even fuller looking. Can you see what it's looking like so far? So that's all you do is you're working your way around. And remember the little trick of pulling your hand over to the side, place on a bunch of greenery, wrap it around 2 or 3 times, pull your hand over to the side, bunch of greenery, overlap it slightly, wrap the reel wire around 2 or 3 times, pull your hand over to the side slightly, get another bunch of greenery, place it in on an angle and wrap it around. And because the frame is made with greenery, you get away with any little gaps or, you know, little pieces that you may have missed. And again, to make it chunky, I'm going to rest the bunch nearly on the center, on top of all the ends, and that just makes it extra chunky. And this is what it looks like so far. And just to show you at the back, if you can see that gold wire, that is the edge of the wire frame. So you can see how much I've allowed the greenery to stick out past it.
Tracy just wants to know, Jeanette, is real wire the same as green floral wire?
You'll probably think, when I always think green floral wire, I always think these ones. You see the way these straight ones here that come in 7-inch, 8-inch, 9-inch, 10-inch, 12-inch, 14 inches. I think they're 14 inches I have there. So, but there is green wire on a spool as well. It's a little bit more expensive because it doesn't actually rust, okay? So, yeah, absolutely, that will do as well. That's fine.
Emer says, how long will it last approximately?
This is only, if you keep this misted and sprayed, now it's a bit of a curse that the weather is so nice. As nice as the weather is, okay? If the weather was a little bit cooler, you know, that way, these would last longer. You could easily get 3 weeks out of them, like say in the porch or hanging on the hall door, and it's really cold outside and there's a bit of rain every so often. Now, if the weather keeps up the way it has been all this week in Dublin, you'll probably need to take it down and drown it, throw it down on the driveway and literally lash a bucket of water on top of it. Don't be there with little mister, you know, the way trying to mist it. Just throw a bucket of water on top of it and it'll be fine. Will you just grab me another bunch of real wire, Deirdre? It's just I was using this one earlier on and I'm just at the end of it here. So again, I'm just wrapping that around just to show you I'm nearly at the halfway mark, okay? So I'm going to keep going, placing the greenery out on a slant. And as you can see, like, I just think this looks so nice and it's costing us very little. Do you know that way? I did buy in the eucalyptus and the silver Sussex, but everything else that's on this wreath is out of Deirdre's garden.
And it's not going to even be on your door.
It won't even be on your door because, as I was saying earlier on, when I was advertising that I was going to do this door wreath on Wednesday night, I was talking about maybe decorating it with fruit. And then we were down the local post office here in Rialto and we found out the girl's name because we never knew what her name was. Her name was Lorraine. So she's the girl with the black hair down there. And she said to us, girls, she was actually watching us on the Instagram, and she said, what would you do with apples? You know the way? And she was telling me that she's an apple tree in her garden and she has loads of apples. So I said to her, you bring me in the apples, I said, and I used them in the wreath. I'm just cutting off my wire here and I'm just going to start a new roll of wire. I said, and I give the wreath to you. So this actually is going down to Rialto Post Office tomorrow and it'll be hanging on Lorraine's hall door, but hopefully she'll take a photograph of it and she'll show me what it looks like.
Marie says you must have nothing left in the garden.
Oh, Deirdre's garden is huge. So at the very end of this class tonight, I'm going to give you the address of Deirdre's garden. And she has organised little walking tours.
Oh, yeah.
On Tuesdays and Fridays.
Suzanne says, do you source the silver Sussex from Holland?
I actually buy this in from Wicklow. So there's a foliage farm. It's called Red Cross Foliage Farm. It's obviously in Red Cross, County Wicklow. And I buy the bunches of silver Sussex from him. And there's also a foliage farm down in Kerry, and sometimes I get the silver Sussex from him. But we've had a couple of garden centres that are selling it, and I know for a fact Mylands Garden Centre in Galway, if Yvonne is watching, okay, they have them for sale, and she delivers them, you know, couriers them, posts them, whatever, she delivers them. And as far as I know, she even does the UK. Again, I'm just going to hold it up just so that you can see.
Looks amazing.
And again, just to show you at the back, hopefully you can see the gold ring there, you know, the way the framework. And that's how much bigger I've come from, because I think Lorraine lives in a posh house. Do you think she does, Deirdre? She looks like she has money, doesn't she?
Suzanne, I'd say she does. I'd say working in the post office, she has to have plenty of money. And Suzanne says she has dehydrated wreaths today for her own wreath. So dehydrated apples.
Oh yeah, well I have a few of them as well, so I'm going to use some of them in case anybody watching, and if that's what they had as well. That's a little bit of the red robin there. You see there where Deirdre had brought in some of that. As I said, most of this foliage is actually from Deirdre's garden. Now, when you kind of get to your last slot, this is my last one here, okay? What you have to do is place the bunch of foliage in more or less vertical, kind of like that direction, you see into it. And when you're bringing the wire around, I can only do this on the flat. If I was to just get the real wire now and lash it across, I'd end up flattening everything. So I call it the wiggle and the wangle. So you get your wire and you wiggle it in and out between the foliages, wrap it around, lift up your frame. And again, another little bit of wiggling and wangling. Okay, and that way you're flattening down a little bit, but you're not flattening it all. I just feel I could get one more bit in.
And Jeanette Francis says, how long does a straw wreath last?
Well, strawberry can last forever and ever and ever once the mice don't get at it, or the cows or horses or whatever else eat straw. You know that way.
I actually don't think they eat straw, they lie on it.
Oh, they lie on it.
Hay.
So, okay, so I'd say then, okay, once you've no horses that lie on it, they last for absolutely ages. Probably more chance of the mice. Mice, I'd say, eating it. So again, I just added in one more piece there. I'm doing a little bit of wiggling and wangling here, and then I'm going to cut the wire at the back, and I'm just going to stick the little bit of wire that's left over, stick it back down into the frame, and voila, that is our foliage base. There you can see it's completely foliage. It is wet because when I when I made the bunches earlier on, which I done before I went home here today, I just dumped them all into a bucket of water. Just going to get a bit of kitchen towel here. I dumped them all into a bucket of water, and then I just left them kind of to drip dry or whatever. So just going to clean off the table here, just get rid of some of this water. And I know this will stay fresh for Lorraine. If the weather is as it is, easily 2 weeks. But
Teresa says, oh my goodness, this is gorgeous. I have to try this. I run a preschool, not a flower shop, but very happy that I found you. Claren Bridge Garden Centre sells silver Sussex as well.
Brilliant.
I think they're in Carlow.
So Claren Bridge, put up the links, put up the website, put up the telephone numbers, the email address, advertise them, you know, that way, and tell people how they can contact you. And you probably will see in the comments people asking. So rather than me having to go and answer them all this evening, you go along all the comments and answer them and give them your link. Like, we're more than welcome to promote yourself or any other garden centre that's watching there.
Mihal Feely is on at the moment.
Oh,
she says maybe a flyer in the house. I'd say he sells silver Sussex.
I'd say he has silver Sussex down there now in County Sligo. Did you know Bridie Durkin, by the way, Mihal, did you? My husband was down at her funeral yesterday. This lady down in Sligo, 102 she was. She'll be 103 for her next birthday. And sadly, like, she passed away, but she was a really good friend of my mum-in-law who passed away there earlier this year.
Just before you go on there, just a few more. Paula says that looks amazing. They want to know, where'd you get your shirt? Your
walk-in wardrobe up the north, online. I buy everything online, I do, especially with the pandemic, and they're an online shop. Now, this was probably the summer season. They probably don't have it anymore, but your one has amazing clothes, and they're not expensive.
Caroline wants to know, what can I do if I haven't had my invitation to Louise's webinar this evening? Help check your promotions and check your spam. Ours was in the spam, Caroline. So when you registered for her webinar, and it automatically sent you back an email, it went into my spam, so just check your spam.
And Louise, if you're watching, go and answer Caroline and help sort her out.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so what I have now is a length of the organza. So I sent this out as part of our kit because we bought in a load of it, because normally people find it hard to get orange organza for Halloween. Now, I know everybody that got it they'll probably be able to sell it, they will, because there was 25 meters of it on the roll, you know, that way. And I don't have any left. I've two kits left, which they're up on the website now.
They're not yet, they will be.
Oh, they're not yet, sorry. There is 2 more kits left, and they will be up on the website.
Fingers first.
And once they're gone, they're gone. So what I'm going to do is get 2 lengths. What I'm trying to say there is, if there's other people who've already got it, they might sell you a bit of their organza ribbon, okay? Let's get a little bit of barter in here. So you can make the bow as full as you wish. I'm after cutting them pieces actually miles too long, so you can cut them much shorter. I'm yapping away and I'm not concentrating on what I'm doing.
Claren Bridge is in County Galway, it's not in Carlow.
There you go, you see? It's probably beside Trinidad, I'd say. In 1943. So here we have our 2 lengths of organza, and you're going to pretend that you're putting a scarf around your neck. Okay, you wouldn't need it today, it's absolutely melting today. And then you're going to cross it under your chin, like, you know, nice and cuddly, right? And we call this the front of the neck. And in a few minutes, as if I was putting a brooch on my scarf there, I'm going to grip it. The only thing is, you can't make this bow with your bloody head inside it, okay? So you now have to do the exact same thing, but without your head inside it. So you're pretending that you're wrapping it around your neck and you're cuddling it. And the bigger your neck is, the bigger the bow is going to be. So you can decide, do you want this bow to be smaller or larger, just by adjusting that circle. They're going to be the tails of it. So you can see I made a hands of it when I was cutting and measuring there. I was all excited talking to Mihal, you see, and I got carried away with my yards. So what you then do, so my finger is down here as if it was the brooch, okay, holding the scarf. Now you grab could be your granny or somebody who annoyed you last night. So you grab them at the back of their neck. That's the handiest way to explain it. And you bring the front of the neck into the brooch, you see, like that, and you squash it in real tight, and that's how you make the bow. Now, in the kit that I sent out to you, I sent out a number of these wires, and I sent them out nice and long, okay? So these are just normal florist wires. 20 gauge is better. These are the stronger ones, and they're the ones that I sent out. So I'm just going to wrap a small bit of that wire around the center of that bow where my finger was holding it, okay? I'm now going to squash that in real tight, and I'm going to wrap the long piece of wire around the short piece of wire, and that holds it together. Now, the two tails, as I said, they're definitely too long. Now, you might like your tails longer, so you can adjust them if you want to, but I'm just cutting straight across, you see, like that, and that's going into the magic bin as well. And then you can go back to the loops, and with the organza, you can open that out as full as you wish. Now, if you would prefer the bow to be a little bit simpler, just use the one layer of ribbon. You know the way I put the two together. And you probably noticed, or maybe you didn't, so you have to rewind this and watch it again. But when I was wrapping them together, I didn't keep them neat or tidy. I just basically grabbed them together. So that's what the bow looks like. Now, normally when you make these wreaths, wherever you finished, you know where the wiggling and the wangling part was, okay? That's normally a bit untidier than the rest of it. In other words, normally with the eagle eye, you can spot. But I have to give myself a pat on the back because I actually think I've done a great job, because I can't really find me wiggling and wangling spot. I think it's here, but there's not really a massive bad spot on the wreath. There normally is, okay? So I'm going to pick this part here. Now you have to decide, do you want the bow to look down, or would you prefer the bow to be at the top of it? You know that way? I think it's nicer at the bottom, so I'm going to put it at the bottom. So you find your bad spot, because you know yourself, everybody has a bad spot, okay? So you find the bad spot on the wreath, there's no bad spot on my one, and you bring it over the edge of the table, so like kind of like, you know, my hand will go underneath. And then the straight part of the wire, you kind of like pierce it, and you stick it down through the bunches of greenery, and it goes down through that frame until the wire comes out the other side. I'm going to hold it up so that they can see. Can they all see that wire coming out the other side there? Now, where the wire comes through the other side, I'm making like a horseshoe bend, a U bend, and sticking it back up into the frame like that, and that's what holds the bow in place. Now, if you're not happy with it there and you want to change it around, it's not a big deal to straighten the wire and pull it back out again.
They're getting great kick out of the big neck and the little neck. Who's this was said?
Well, you know the way you grab your kids, just
Shania Hearn says, greetings from Cork. You know where people have small necks. This is fantastic.
Get up to Dublin and get a job. So that's where you get the name the Rednecks. I'll be done. I will. Sometimes people will be giving out to me for saying all these things.
Just actually all the people that are saying and they're loving it and they're loving the read. Please share this video.
Click share, like get the word out there. And anyway, if you want to watch it on the replay, it'll be saved to your Facebook page.
Patricia's looking for the name of the farm in Wicklow. It's only trade only for that farm in Wicklow, so we can't give that out over here.
Red Cross it is, but they really only do the trade. But if you're right, a lot of people.
Charmaine says, what was the announcement? She didn't see it.
Oh, she had to go back to the very beginning. But I tell you what, bear with us, Charmaine, and I'll tell you again at the end. So now, say this apple, there's actually been something eating this apple here. Were you eating that apple?
Starving.
Now, I haven't got my apron on, but you can go along your apples, you know, that way, and you can give them a shine. Do you remember as a kid in school, you always puffed it up against your jumper, you know, that way, and you can give it a little shine. So what you're going to do with the wire, this apple is a bit tattery, it is, but I'm going to complain. I'm going to send it back to get my money back. You get your wire and you stick it up through one side of the apple. It goes in really easy, it does, and it comes out the other side. Like, that's all you do to the apple. Now, I like the red side, okay? I don't like the little bit that's kind of tattered, but I do like the red part of the apple. So what you do is bring your frame over the edge of the table, and I have two lengths of wires, okay? So one length of wire kind of goes around one side of the frame. The other length of wire goes around the other side of the frame. The two pieces of wire meet underneath, okay? And I just have to find me two bits of wires. You kind of end up being like a bit of a gynecologist here, because you're kind of feeling around, looking until you find the two wires that meet together. And then all I'm going to do underneath is twist them together, right? And that would probably be an easy way for anybody that's only starting off and that's a little bit unsure how to get the fruit on. That is one way of doing it. And to be honest, I'll be honest here, okay? My little bit of wire is a miserable little bit of wire, it is. And I'm having difficulty twisting it together. I have it here, yeah. God help gynecologists. And there we go. And there's our apples, you see, in place there. Another way of doing it, okay, is you can get your fruit, and this time you can come through the side of the apple and you come out the other side. But this time you only bring a little bit of wire out the other side, right? And then you bend the two pieces of wire together and you twist them. Hopefully you can see that, the short bit and the long bit, okay? So you twist the two of these together. So then you're just left, you see, with one long piece of wire. So what that happens now is that goes down through the frame the same way the bow went down through the frame, okay? And where the wire came through the other side, you then make that little horseshoe U-bend and you stick it back up into it. And that's how I got the apple on there.
Pamela Kavanagh has made a comment, but it's not for here, so I'm going to...
Well, I like discussing comments.
No.
Okay, everybody at this stage, go to the comments, look at Pamela Kavanagh and see what she said. I'll have to go back afterwards myself. So I'm wiring a few of the apples here. While you are all scrolling down looking to see what Pamela Kavanagh said, I'm sticking my wires through my apples and I'm wiring them up here and I'm adding them in. Now, being honest, I'm being very casual about where I put these apples. You know, that way, like, because Lorraine gave us loads of them. She did. Absolutely loads of them. I have to say, she's not mean with her apples.
No, she's not. No.
She's definitely not a meanie with the apples. So it's easy enough with these wires, you know, that way. So I'm finding that the short bit and the long bit of wire and twisting it on the apple, to me, it's a little bit easier rather than the first way I showed you. But this is a live show, and we never know what's going to happen, you know, that way, or what materials we have.
Oh, Bridie Hug is watching us.
Hiya, Bridie. How are you?
She says, absolutely gorgeous ladies as usual.
I'm glad you're
Christine Callahan says, you've just got a bad mind. Valerie Keith says, Pamela Kavanagh, you're dead right.
I'm dying to know what you said now. You're making me really nosy. So that's all I'm doing. I'll hold this up now in a second. Just sticking the wire through. And of course, there's always an awkward one. And this one has been a little bit awkward. It is. Anyway, there we are. We're through to the other side. And again, I'm hooking it up. So I have 4 or 5 apples in there so far. You know, the way, just to give you an idea. But because Lorraine gave me loads of apples, okay, I'm going to put a few more into them. So again, just twisting my wires. My hands are soaking here because the greenery is soaking and the wires are slipping on my hands. That's my excuse. Now, I also have some little mandarin oranges, which I'm going to use. Not yet. I'll use them in a few minutes. And I also have some of the dehydrated fruit. But before I put anything onto it, I bet you all thought it was gorgeous anyway. You know, that way. Well, I thought it was gorgeous with just the foliage on it. You know, that way. As I said, that cost like very little. Like, it was a lot of labor involved in it. You know, the way, just in case, you know, kind of saying, oh God, flare shops are making a fortune. There is a lot of work in that, okay? But like, this is more about people making these at home for the enjoyment of it. Now, I better just kind of cover myself. These fruit are for decoration purposes only and should not be
the birds might eat them.
The birds can eat them, because I just would be afraid that somebody'd go and eat them and they'd get a wire caught in their braces and then they'd be suing us, you know, that way, or they'd be suing you. So obviously the fruit is not to be ate, you know, that way. And yes, the fruit will die and it will rot on the wreath. But listen, you'll easily get the 2 to 3 weeks out of it. And again, if it was cold, as I said, it's a bit of a disaster. I normally I'm looking for the weather to be lovely, but it's a bit of a disaster that the weather is, you know, so mild at the moment. So again, I have a few more apples to put into it. But the reason why I made a frame before I started was I knew the apples was going to be heavy, and you do need something to support it. Now, if there is anybody watching and they have moss and you want to do moss frames or you want to do straw frames, absolutely, and that would also support the weight of the apples. But next week we're going to do the straw.
Next week we're doing straw.
Yeah. So again, a reminder.
Go to the pet shop and pick up some straw, and you that have the rings.
Yeah, so they're about $5.99 for a bag of straw in the pet shop. So if you pick up one of them, and you'll have enough of everything else that I sent out to you in the kit, you know, that way, to make one of these. Just going to put another. Well,
Francis is just asking, has anyone tried to attach candles to a straw wreath?
That sounds dangerous.
If
that
you're
sounds
making a flat wreath rather than hanging, I make personalized candles and handmade cards. I would say no, unless in your own house and you know, but I would be afraid. Yeah. If you spray the apples with clear glue, they will last longer. Trace Noonan.
I didn't know that. That's a great tip. Fair play to anybody else that has any tips there.
Mr. Price has straw. Geraldine Nealon is
right. I'm doing the exact same things to the mandarin oranges, by the way.
Amber got a bag of straw, Mr. Price as well. Jeanette, where do you get your rings? Oh, the wire rings or the rings on our fingers?
The wire rings, I actually buy them in the wholesalers. They're a bit difficult to get because we had an awful problem getting them, because it's just a disaster with Brexit trying to get the stuff in from the UK. But I got a big delivery that I had ordered months ago and it arrived the other day. And all that orange organza kind of came in it as well. So I just kind of like made them up into little kits. The 3 bunches of wires, a bunch of 20, or the 3 wire rings, the bunch of 20 gauge wires, the roll of real wire, and the roll of organza ribbon. And we did it for €30, including postage. And we got them all out. We did, and we've only got 2 left. Now, a few more oranges to put in, but just to kind of like let you see it so far. And if you're doing this at home yourself, get somebody to hold it for you away from your face, you know what I mean? So that you can kind of see for balance, or little cop on spots, and you say, I should put another orange in there.
And somebody says as well, Jennifer, if you dip the apples in clear warm wax, obviously makes them
would that not make
well.
them a funny color? Would it, even with it being clear? I don't know. I don't know. Try it. Absolutely try it. Now, as I said, we were going to have a bit of a competition or a giveaway for anybody that's going to make their own door wreath, okay, after tonight's class, okay? And you can make it a little bit different. We're not going to be really strict about it. So what we're asking you to do, and you have till Friday, okay? So there's absolutely no pressure in case anybody feels, oh God, I better do it tonight. So you have all day Thursday and up till late Friday night, okay, that we'll give you, is if you make your own door wreath and you post a photograph on our Flowery Fun Group page, okay, we will comment underneath and we will give you a link for a free online course making about 6 different types of door wreaths, okay? So it's a great prize, okay? And you'll get it for free. And there's no limit, okay? But once Friday is over, if somebody starts saying on Saturday, oh, I posted my photograph too feckin' late, you know, the way snooze, you lose. So you have up till Friday night, 12 o'clock, Friday night, to post your photograph of your own door wreath, okay? And then what we'll do is we'll contact you and we'll organise a prize for you. Now, go on.
The Christmas.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Geez, we've loads to announce tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just start wiring up the dehydrated fruit. So these are like the orange slices or grapefruit slices, and you can do them individually or you can do them in 2s. So I did a couple of them in 2s like that. And if you want to do them individually, all you do is you stick a wire through one side, bend it over, and basically twist the wire around the other, and that's how you get them wired. If you do them in 2s, I kind of find you get it more secure. So if you do it in 2s, is you overlap the 2 slices, you see, like so, and you get your wire and stick it through the 2 slices at the same time, bend it over, wrap one wire around the other, and to see the way you get the effect with the 2 slices. So I'm now going to stick these randomly in and out through it.
Emily says, does it have to be real flowers for the competition? No, but it has to be real foliage.
It has to be real foliage, yes. So it can't be an artificial one.
Twig, like a twig ring or anything like that. It has to be real foliage.
Like you're supposed to have looked at what I'm at to teaching you. Now, come on, Emily. Don't cheating altogether. We're being a little bit fair. Okay, so the announcement that Deirdre was reminding me about there, okay? Skillnet's up in Drogheda. So Skillnet's is an Irish government agency group or whatever who give funding towards people who want to do classes. Now, the criteria is you have to be living in the Republic of Ireland and you do have to be working as well. And what they will do is they will pay 25% towards some of the courses, okay? Now, I know people have been asking me recently, has Skillnet's funding? And most of the Skillnets have been out of funding, okay? They haven't had any money left. But they contacted us the other day and they've given us 20 places on the Christmas course. So the Christmas course starts the 1st of November. So the first 20 people, and it'll be the fastest fingers, but we'll put the link up afterwards, okay? So the first 20 people who wish to book their course, you book the course through Skillnets, okay, through the link that we'll put on the page. Now, there's no point in ringing a random Skillnet because there's Skillnets all over the country, okay? Most counties have Skillnets, and it's obviously just the one up in Drogheda, and you have to book it online through the link. But if you book your course through them, instead of paying €300, you'll only pay $225. So they paid the 25% for you. So it's well worth, you know.
But there's only 20 places.
There is only 20 places.
Actually, there's only 18.
Okay. Somebody has already booked.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's only 18 places left, okay? We did announce it in one of our Bloom Room classes there earlier on, and I said I'd give them first option before I actually posted it kind of like public. So there's still 18 places left there. So if you've been thinking about it and you're kind of saying, oh God, will I book onto the Christmas course? At least now you're saving yourself €75.
And some of them are saying, can you do the Skillnets if you've booked it already?
If you've already availed of one of the special offers,
which was the free door wreath kit.
Yeah.
So if you booked it before the, whatever it was, 1st of September, I think it was, and you got the free door wreath kit worth €110.
You can't.
You can't.
Don't be a meanie.
You can't do both.
It can't be both.
There's no kit with since that offer was finished. It was an early bird offer. It's finished, so it's only for anyone that's booking the course now. So can you book off your website? No, it's not on our website.
Well, you can book the course on the website, but you won't get the discount.
No,
you know that way.
That's amazing.
So this is what it looks. I think this is going to look really well on the rain store.
I think it is. Yeah.
I hope she has a house. Maybe she lives with her mommy or her daddy. No, she does actually have a son, so I presume she has her own house. So then the last thing then is to make a hanger on it for hanging on your door, right? So the best thing to do is cut another length of your, because remember you've loads of it, you know that way. Even if you sold half of it, you've absolutely loads of this. Now you'll have to decide where I always hang mine on my knocker, and my knocker is about there on my whole door. Do you know that way? Some people's handles are that could be down really low, and some people's knockers are up real high. So it depends where your knockers are, okay, where you're going to hang it. Or you could do a hook on the inside of your door and bring the ribbon from the front of your door over to the inside. Or you could get the command sticks, or there's a little metal hanger you can buy at Christmas time, no whether they have them at the moment. It's a door wreath hanger, and normally they have them in the likes of the pound shops, walk around shops, Dunn stores, pennies, etc. So you get your length of ribbon, okay? You're going to hook it around opposite the bow, obviously. But what I'm actually doing here is I'm kind of like, there's my hand, is I'm tucking or sliding it in under the foliage just to try and hide it, okay? So I'm back being a gynecologist here. I'm actually doing I'm doing a tummy tuck here. I'm getting my fingers in here, right? Pulling it down nice and tight. So now I have the two lengths of ribbon, and now I'm going to tie them in a knot, okay? So I'm just tying them in a knot tight around the actual base. I'll hold this up now in a second.
Paula says it looks amazing. She hopes you can re-watch it again later. Absolutely.
Once you share it, and you have to share it anyway, okay? So once you click share in the bottom right-hand corner, it doesn't affect your viewing. It'll go directly to your page, and then you'll be able to watch it on the replay, you know, in case you want to do it at home yourself. Now leave the other parts open that you can tie them around your knockers or your handles or your hook or whatever you're going to tie them on, and then you can tie another knot, and then you can cut them little bits off. So when I'm bringing that down to Rialto Post Office tomorrow, that's how I'll actually carry it down for.
That's gorgeous. Absolutely fabulous.
So the big announcement, who was the Charlene was asking. So the big announcement for tonight was that next May, we're 35 years in business. So 5 years ago, when we were 30 years in business, we had a massive giveaway where we gave a scholarship. It was worth €3,600. And basically we sponsored a course for one person, okay, to attend all the professional floristry certificate programs here at Case Flower School, obviously online, module 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's a worldwide, it's open to anybody, doesn't matter. Once obviously you can understand me. So anybody who's interested is more than welcome. You can nominate yourself or you can nominate somebody else. Now don't start nominating underneath here. There's a special link on our website you need to go to. And don't rush to do it tonight. Go and listen to it tonight, okay? Because you have to kind of like, what would you say? What would be like?
Sell us why you should.
Yeah, like they have to kind of do a little bit of an essay or a story, don't they? So you need to submit.
Explain why you should
at least 50-second words, okay? Why you should win it or why this person deserves it.
And we have a couple of judges, and Heather is also coming in on board to help us judge it as well.
So Heather Betsy is one of our past students who 5 years ago, she won the scholarship, and she now runs her own wedding business, floristry business, flower shop. And there's a little video, she kindly done a little bit, we had to pay her for the video, didn't we? But anyway, she done a lovely little video, which is posted on the scholarship page. So where will you find it? Go to the website, flowerschoolireland.com, scroll down the buttons, it's near the end, until you see entries for the scholarship. Click on that, listen to Heather's little video, and then you can read like the points and the questions. Like it's quite easy, the criteria. The dates of the courses are there. There's no option for changing. They're the dates, you know, that way. And if you're living in Southern or Northern Ireland, we will also provide all your fresh flowers as part of the program. If you're living outside, like worldwide, overseas, it's impossible, but we will supply you with all the sundries. We just won't be able to supply you with the actual fresh flowers, but we can give you a list of the flowers and we can organise for you to purchase them.
Yeah, perfect. Lovely.
Okay, so
again, lots of people, everyone's saying it's amazing. A picture of this. Actually, just move over that way. Yeah, that's it. Perfect.
There we go.
It's absolutely fabulous. So if you love it, please share it.
So the bag of apples was, I think, $1.69 in super value. Okay.
Yeah.
And the apples were free because they were.
The bag of oranges, you mean? Sorry.
The bag of oranges was $1.69, but the apples were actually from Lorraine's garden, the girl down in Rialto Post Office. Most of the foliage was foraged foliage, so again, it was foliage from Deirdre's garden, and then that was using the kit that I posted out to people, where I sent them out 3 of the wire rings. I sent them out a roll of the real wire, and I sent them out a bunch of the 20 gauge wires, which is for wiring the decorations. And I also sent them out a roll of the orange organza. Now, unfortunately, I've only got 2 left with the orange organza in it, but I could put a roll of orange florist ribbon into it again, just because for autumn I'm going to do loads more of these designs. So if you're interested and you enjoyed this class, you can join us next Tuesday night, okay, which is the 28th. I'll put up the reminders, and we're going to be back to 7 o'clock, okay, Tuesday night, 7 o'clock next week. And we're going to do a completely different door wreath class again. And again, just to anybody that's watching that wants to make their own door wreath, remember we offered that we're going to give you a free online program on door wreath.
And it has to be fresh. It has to be
fresh
foliage.
Has to be before Friday night. And anyway, I have no qualms saying second disqualified. Cheat, okay? So it has to be fresh, okay? Any sort of decoration, everybody will be a winner. So there is no best or better or worse or whatever. Once you've kind of followed the criteria, you've kept it fresh, whatever, and it's a door wreath, well, then you're going to win a prize. And it has to be before Friday. Now, we've to watch the time.
We have, yeah, and just that's the last reminder, because we're going over now to Louise McDonald, over to her webinar for 6 steps to selling online for florists.
Do you think I need to do that course?
I think
We're not actually doing the course. We're going to be attending the course like yourself, okay? Because you never know everything about social media. Social media is changing all the time. And I think it's going to be about an hour long. So maybe go and grab a bottle of wine. Put a bottle of wine in the fridge, whatever, and grab yourself a gin and tonic or a cup of tea. And you can sit there. It's free anyway. So if you want to sit in and listen to it, and sure, we can be chatting about it over the next few days. So huge thanks for everybody that joined us. Really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the class. Hope Lorraine likes the feckin' door wreath.
So do I.
Hope she's watching.
Yeah.
Probably counting all our money in the post office, she is. And listen, anybody that's in Rialto, call into Lorraine in the post office tomorrow. So listen, goodbye for now. Talk to you all soon, and have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.